You thought you knew her. You thought 13 years meant something. You thought the promises whispered in the dark, the plans you made together, the life you built brick by brick, you thought all of that created a bond too deep to break. But the moment you signed those papers and boarded that plane, she didn't grieve, she didn't pause, she didn't even wait for your seat to recline before she was in his arms. And now you're standing alone in a foreign country, staring at your phone, watching her replace you in real time. But here's what no one tells you: this wasn't random. This wasn't cruel luck. This was psychology. And it's been happening long before you ever left. There's a phenomenon studied by relationship psychologists, called emotional overlap. It's the space where one relationship ends and another begins, but not in sequence. In overlap, researchers found that nearly 40% of people who leave long-term relationships had already emotionally exited months, sometimes years, before the physical separation. They were still sleeping next to you, still saying I love you, still posting anniversary photos, but inside they were gone. And the most disturbing part, you never saw it coming, because they didn't even know they were doing it. The human brain is exceptional at protecting itself from guilt. It rewrites the past. It reframes your love as we grew apart. It turns your efforts into, he didn't understand me. And by the time you're packing your bags, she's not losing you, she's already mourning a man who doesn't exist anymore. So when you moved overseas, when you took that job or chased that dream or tried to rebuild yourself in another country, she didn't need time to heal. She had already healed while you were still married. And the man she ran to, he wasn't new, he was waiting. Maybe he was the coworker she mentioned too often. Maybe the friend who really gets her. Maybe even someone you met. Someone you shook hands with. Someone who smiled at you while imagining your life. Studies show that 70% of emotional affairs begin in environments of proximity and shared vulnerability: workplaces, gyms, social circles where someone offers what you stopped offering, not because you failed, but because familiarity breeds invisibility. You became the man she stopped seeing, and he became the man who noticed her again. But here's where it gets darker. There's a psychological principle called replacement theory in attachment science. When someone exits a long-term relationship and immediately enters another, they're not moving on, they're avoiding. Avoiding grief, avoiding accountability, avoiding the terrifying silence of being alone with their own choices. The new relationship isn't about love, it's about distraction. It's a painkiller, and painkillers don't heal wounds, they numb them. Which means that man she's with, he's not your replacement, he's her escape. And escapes don't last, they collapse. But that doesn't undo what you're feeling right now. Because while she's high on newness, you're drowning in loss. You're in a country where no one knows your name, where the streets don't remember you, where every sunset feels like punishment because you're watching it alone. And the cruelest part, she's fine, she's laughing, she's posting photos, she's moving on like you were a chapter, not a book. And this is where the mind does something dangerous. It starts asking the wrong questions. What did he have that I didn't? Was I not enough? Did she ever really love me? And those questions, they'll destroy you, because the answer isn't about you. It never was. Psychologists studying post-divorce behavior found that people who immediately jump into new relationships are unhappier, they're more anxious, they have higher rates of depression within the first year. They report feeling emotionally fragmented, because they didn't process the loss, they just covered it. But you're alone with the wreckage. You're forced to sit in the pain, you're forced to feel every sharp edge of it. And while that feels like a curse right now, it's actually the only way forward. Because pain that's felt is pain that heals. Pain that's avoided just waits. There's a study from the University of Arizona that tracked individuals who relocated after major life trauma: divorce, death, betrayal. They found that those who moved to unfamiliar places, who started over with nothing but themselves, experienced something called identity reformation. For the first 6 months, they reported extreme loneliness, regret, even suicidal ideation. But after that threshold, something shifted. They stopped defining themselves by what they lost. They started defining themselves by what they survived. They built new routines, new friendships, new versions of themselves that didn't need permission from the past. And 5 years later, 82% of them said the move, the painful, lonely, suffocating move, was the best decision they ever made. Not because it erased the pain, but because it forced transformation. So while she's clinging to familiarity, you're being forged in fire. While she's repeating patterns, you're breaking them. While she's numbing herself with someone new, you're learning to sit with yourself, the hardest, most honest thing a human being can do. And here's the truth, they do unput in movies. The person who heals alone heals completely. The person who runs stays broken. She wake up one day, maybe in 6 months, maybe in 6 years, and realize that new guy isn't you. That he doesn't know the way she folds her arms when she's upset. that he doesn't remember the small things, that he's just a reflection of her fear, and by then you won't care, because you'll have become someone she no longer recognizes, someone who doesn't need her to validate his existence. You're overseas, you're alone, you're watching her live a life that looks perfect from the outside, but you're also free in a way she'll never be, free to rebuild, free to choose, free to become the man you are always supposed to be, not the man she needed you to be. And that freedom, it's worth every sleepless night, every lonely meal, every moment you wanted to break, because one day you'll look back at this version of yourself and realize you didn't lose her, you found you.